What if everything you've ever known, your home, your planet, your universe, vanished in the blink of an eye? A black hole is one of the most mysterious and powerful objects in the universe. At its core, a black hole is formed when a massive star dies and collapses in on itself, compressing its mass into an incredibly small point called a singularity. This singularity has such intense gravity that nothing, not even light, can escape from it. Surrounding this singularity is the event horizon, which is the invisible boundary beyond which escape becomes impossible. Black holes do not suck things in like a vacuum cleaner. Instead, they pull objects in with gravitational force if those objects get too close. Think of them as invisible traps in space, silent, invisible, and utterly deadly. The point of no return around a black hole is known as the Schwarzschild radius. This is the distance from the black hole's center at which its escape velocity equals the speed of light. If anything crosses this boundary, it is inevitably pulled into the black hole. But even before reaching the Schwarzschild radius, objects can begin to feel the effects of its gravity violently. This is where tidal forces come into play. As Earth approaches a black hole, the side closer to it would feel a significantly stronger gravitational pull than the far side. This difference would stretch the planet dramatically, an effect scientists ominously call spaghettification. The closer we get, the more extreme and destructive these forces become, long before the actual collision. If a black hole were to enter our solar system, the warning signs would be undeniable. Planets, including Earth, would begin to behave strangely. Orbits would shift unpredictably due to gravitational disturbances. The moon might no longer rise in the same place. Tides could become monstrous, and satellites could begin failing without explanation. But perhaps the most chilling sign would be the arrival of cosmic radiation. As matter is pulled toward the black hole, it heats up and emits deadly X-rays and gamma rays, which could fry Earth's atmosphere and cause mass extinction. Before we even saw the black hole, its effects might already be tearing our world apart. As the Earth moves closer to the black hole, the very fabric of our environment would begin to fall apart, starting with the atmosphere. The immense gravitational pull would start to distort the shape of the planet, and the atmosphere, which is delicately held in place by gravity, would begin to stretch and thin. Gases would be pulled unevenly, creating massive windstorms and violent pressure fluctuations across the globe. Eventually, the atmosphere would start to collapse, no longer able to hold its structure. Oxygen would vanish in some regions, ultraviolet radiation from space would pour in unfiltered, and life would begin to suffocate. The skies might darken permanently as sunlight bends or disappears entirely behind the gravitational lens of the black hole. Earth's surface would not fare any better. As the tidal forces grow stronger, the crust of the planet would experience unimaginable stress. The continents would shift, triggering massive earthquakes across every tectonic boundary. Dormant volcanoes would erupt violently, unable to contain the pressure building beneath them. But the oceans would be perhaps the most horrifying sight. The gravitational pull would cause entire seas to bulge toward the black hole, creating 1,000-foot tidal waves that defy everything we know about gravity and water behavior. Tsunamis would become a global phenomenon. Coastal cities would be erased, and ocean currents would go haywire. The Earth would begin to tear itself apart, both above and below the surface. As Earth draws even closer to the black hole, the strange nature of time itself begins to break down. Near the event horizon, time dilation becomes a noticeable and terrifying effect. From the perspective of someone watching Earth from far away, time on Earth would appear to slow down drastically. Minutes might stretch into hours, and seconds could feel like eternities. For astronauts or observers in orbit or nearby spacecraft, Earth would seem to freeze in time, as if paused in a moment of agony. Meanwhile, for those on the surface of the planet, everything would seem normal, but irreversible. This distortion of time is not science fiction. It is a real effect of Einstein's theory of relativity. And as Earth slips further into the black hole's grip, time itself becomes just another casualty. As the Earth approaches the black hole, the sky itself would begin to behave in unimaginable ways. One of the most eerie and beautiful effects we would witness is called gravitational lensing. This phenomenon occurs because the black hole's immense gravity bends light around it. Stars in the sky would appear to swirl and stretch, forming rings and arcs of distorted light. Some constellations would vanish entirely, while others would appear duplicated or mirrored. The sun could even seem to rise in more than one place, or circle the sky in impossible patterns. To the human eye, it would feel like the entire universe is collapsing, twisting around a black center that devours light, direction, and reality itself. Eventually, Earth would be caught in a death spiral. The planet would enter its final orbits around the black hole, and with each revolution, the distance would decrease. These orbits would become increasingly unstable and violent. The closer Earth gets, the more the planet would heat up, not from the sun, but from the brutal tidal forces stretching and compressing it like a rubber ball being squeezed by an invisible hand. Friction within the Earth's crust would rise, causing magma to churn uncontrollably beneath the surface. Cities would be reduced to molten ruins, and the ground itself would begin to glow red hot. Every living organism would be cooked by the energy unleashed by this final, desperate dance with gravity. In its final moments, Earth would face the most grotesque fate imaginable: spaghettification. This is the name scientists give to the process where objects are stretched into thin strands as they fall into a black hole. The side of Earth closest to the black hole would feel a far stronger gravitational pull than the far side, causing the planet to elongate vertically and compress horizontally. Mountains would flatten, oceans would vaporize, and the crust would peel away in ribbons of rock and metal. Eventually, the entire Earth, atmosphere, oceans, crust, and core, would be torn apart atom by atom. Even those atoms would not escape. They would be pulled into the singularity, where the laws of physics as we know them cease to apply. Earth would become nothing more than a smear of energy spiraling into darkness, erased from existence, as if it never was. The fate of humanity in such an apocalyptic scenario would depend entirely on how close we are to the black hole when the effects begin. In the best-case scenario, if there is such a thing, it would be over before we even knew it. The gravitational forces would distort space and time so severely that consciousness itself could be disrupted. For some, it might feel like a flicker. One moment alive, the next moment gone. But if Earth had time to spiral inward slowly, the outcome would be far more horrifying. We would witness the collapse of our atmosphere, the oceans rising and boiling, the sky warping, and the ground cracking apart beneath our feet. The suffering would be drawn out: widespread panic, environmental collapse, and mass extinction long before the final plunge. In every outcome, though, the end is certain. No one survives a black hole. The only hope for humanity in such a doomsday scenario lies beyond Earth itself. If we had already become a truly spacefaring civilization, with colonies on Mars, the Moon, or even in other star systems, then some humans might escape extinction. A black hole moves incredibly fast and would give little warning, so the chances of launching a last-minute escape from Earth are slim. However, if we had pre-built escape plans or deep space habitats ready, survival could be possible for a few. But these would need to be self-sustaining for decades, if not centuries. Realistically, unless humanity makes massive investments in off-world living and faster space travel, our species would be trapped on Earth, doomed to vanish along with it. As terrifying as this all sounds, could it really happen? The good news is probably not, at least not anytime soon. Astronomers have identified several black holes in our galaxy, but none are currently on a collision course with Earth. The closest known black hole, V616 Monocerotis, is about 3,000 light-years away, far enough to pose no immediate threat. That said, some black holes, especially smaller rogue black holes, are invisible and could be wandering through the galaxy. Scientists constantly scan the skies for signs of gravitational anomalies and unusual movements in stars, which could hint at a hidden black hole. While the odds are low, the possibility is not zero. And that is why understanding black holes, tracking them, and advancing space technology may be humanity's only real defense against one of the universe's most terrifying forces. If that made your brain melt a little, you're in the right place. Like, subscribe, and join us next time as we unravel more mind-bending mysteries of the universe.